Yes, good morning students. So we are discussing about chapter number 22, Negotiable Instrument Act of 1881. So far we have discussed in this chapter various negotiable instruments like promissory note, bill of exchange and check. What are the various characteristics of bill of exchange, promissory note and a check? Apart from that, what are the various characteristics of these instruments? Then the differences between bill of exchange and promissory note, then promissory note and check and bill of exchange. These are all the chapters so far we have discussed in the chapter number 22. Now the next topic is crossing of check. What do you mean by crossing of check? Crossing of check means it is a practice of drawing two parallel lines across the face of the check. So crossing means it is a practice of drawing two parallel transverse lines across the face of the check with or without the words, that is unaccompanied or unco or any abbreviation. This is known as crossing. Crossing is nothing but refers to practice of drawing two parallel transverse lines across the face of the check between the words with or without the words of unaccompanied or unco or any other abbreviation. This is known as crossing. With the effect of this crossing, the drawing banker pay the amount of check only to the banker. The drawing bank instructed to or directed to pay the amount of the check only to the banker. So this is known as crossing. Then there are two types of crossing. Crossing of checks are divided into two types, namely general crossing and special crossing. What do you mean by general crossing? Section 123 of the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. A check which bears across its face, an additions of, that is unaccompanied or unco or any abbreviation between the two parallel lines. Do you understand? So it's a check which bears across its face an additions of the word unaccompanied or unco or any abbreviation between the two parallel lines, or the two parallel lines drawn which either with or without the words not negotiable, either with or without the words of the word negotiable. Such addition is deemed as crossing of checks. So two important things have to bear in mind. Number one, additions of unaccompanied or unco or any other abbreviations, or the transverse line between the two transverse line simply either with or without the words of not negotiable. Such additions to be deemed as general crossing. So what do you mean by crossing and what do you mean by general crossing? Then what are the significance of general crossing? So the amount of the check should not be paid at the counter. First important thing is, if the check has been crossed means the amount of the check should not be paid at the counter. How the amount will be collected means the paying banker is directed to pay the amount of check only through the another bank. So first of all, the amount of the check should not be paid at the counter. Then the paying banker is directed to pay the amount of the check only through the another bank. Suppose if the payee, who is called as payee is called as payee is nothing but one who receives the amount of check. He is called as payee. So already I told you the three persons who are involved in the negotiable instrument. Number one, drawer. First one, drawer. Number two, drawee. Number three, payee. So drawer means one who draw the bill of exchange. One who accept the bill of exchange is called as drawee. One who receives the amount of instrument is called as payee. So in another case, suppose the payee does not have bank account. He can collect the amount through someone who is having bank account. Third point. Do you understand? First point, the amount of check will not be paid at the counter of the bank. Then the paying banker is directed to pay the amount of check only through another bank account or another bank. Suppose if the payee does not have bank account, he can collect the amount through someone or his friends or relative who is having bank account. Suppose even if the crossed check has stolen and collected party not entitled to it. If a crossed check stolen and collected means the party who has collected the check has not entitled to it. That is, he will not be the owner of the check. So even if the crossed check stolen and the collected party is not entitled to it, then the collected party can be easily traced out also. Suppose if the check stolen and he deposits the amount to another bank, and in that case here that with the help of the crossed check who has collected and wrongly collected the amount, he can be easily traced out, because the amount of check will be paid only deposit the account, then only he can withdraw the amount. For example, A has a check and A got the check and deposited into bank. Before the deposit into the bank, the check was stolen. A is a person who got the check from B. A got the check from B, and before the deposit the amount of check, the check was stolen. Suppose C collected the check. So C got the check and he deposited to a particular bank, and he may withdraw the amount from some bank. Then the person who has wrongly collected the check can be easily traced out, because the particular account number paid the amount to which bank, who has the person who received the amount of check, that can be easily traced out. We understand? A got the check from B. Before the collection of check, before they get the amount of check, it was stolen by C, and he get the amount from some bank, and that person can be easily traced out because of the crossing of check. Then ensure the crossing of check ensure the safety and prevent the payment into wrong hands. Thus, crossing of check ensure safety as well as prevent the payment into the wrong hands. Now, see some of the examples of specimen of crossed check. These are all the two parallel transverse line. So, without the words, this is also general crossing. Two parallel line between the words, that is and company, and two between the word between the two transverse line, not negotiable. See the difference between these three. No words, uncompany, abbreviation, and not negotiable. These are only some specimen of general crossing. You understand what you mean by crossing now? So crossing is nothing but drawing two parallel transverse line across the face of the check, with or without the words of additions.